What's up, you guys? I'm here today to talk to you a little bit about how to compare your progress photos and how to look for those changes. So there are a lot of ways to assess if you're making progress in your fitness journey. And you should be taking a lot of this data. You should be taking weekly or more than weekly weigh-ins, measurements. You should be assessing adherence as far as like how often are you hitting your macros, how often are you hitting your workouts. And then there's going to be other things like how are your clothes fitting? How are you looking when you look in the mirror? Like, are you feeling leaner? Other non-scale things like, are you noticing that you have more energy? Do you like feel better because you're hitting these workouts and you're changing your lifestyle? So there's a lot of things to take into account when you are judging if you're making progress or not. And I can get more into those in a different video. Leave a comment down below if you have questions on those kinds of things, or if you're wondering about how to know when to make changes. That's another big question that goes along with this. But today we're going to just focus on progress photos only and how to scan across those photos and make judgments on if you are seeing progress or not, because those are, here comes my dog. Those are small things that sometimes if you're not trained to look at those progress photos, you might miss. So I'm going to put up my own photos on the screen, make some drawings on the photos, and kind of explain what I'm looking at as I'm looking at those pictures. All right, so a couple things to remember when you're taking progress photos. You're going to want to take a front photo, a back photo, and a side photo. You want those to be under the same conditions. So first thing in the morning, after using the restroom, before eating or drinking anything, and try to get the same lighting. I did not do the best job with that, but I'm going to show you these photos anyways. So let's go ahead and start with the front shot. So just getting really personal with you guys, I did go ahead and add a little emoji guy here because my underwear were kind of sheer. So that's what that's about. Let me make this bigger. All right, so what we have here is a similar outfit, similar pose. The lighting is a little bit brighter in the new photo. So this is going to be where I'm at now. This is where I was at 5 weeks ago. The first thing I'm looking at is core. So this area right in here, this area right in here. I'm going to scan my eyes across the photos, go from left to right, left to right, left to right. What I see is that the sides of my core are coming in a little bit here. We're showing a little bit more definition in the center, a little bit of upper abs coming in. Then if you see that little tiny area where my core hits my underwear, this is going in a little bit right here. So it's showing that I'm losing a little bit of fat here because this is harder now. So that's the first thing I'm looking at. The next thing I'm going to look at is going to be leg definition. So down here, you can see in the before photo, there was no definition coming in here. The second photo, there's a little bit happening right here. There's a little bit of the first part of a quad split happening at that exact spot. The next thing I'm going to look at is going to be up at my shoulders. So here you can see a slight slope. In the new photo, there's more of a shadow here, which is showing some more capped shoulders. So we're making physical progress. Sometimes you just look at these photos next to each other and it's like, well, this is very similar. And it is very similar. And I know that I take a while to really show those physical changes. So this is how I'm scanning back and forth. Let's look at another one. All right, so next photo is the back photo. And one issue that's here is that I'm not doing the exact same pose. I had been going through my bikini poses right here, so it's just slightly different and it's not great, but here's what it is. So the first thing I'm going to look at is the low back. Right here, I can see a little bit of a indent right under my bra. I still have that. It looks a little bit different though. It's a little bit deeper. I do have a little less curve here than I do here. So we are losing some fat in low back. Next thing I'm going to look at is the glutes. Guess I should circle this one too. The biggest feature here is that there's starting to be some glute and hamstring leanness starting right here. If you scan back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, there is more of a gap between my legs. If you look down at my feet, they're about the same width apart. So we're losing some fat in the back of the legs, which is a really difficult place for me to lose fat. Last one. Okay, last one. This is the side shot, and I think this is the most telling for me about what kind of progress I'm making. So, same position. If you even look at the underwear and the direction they're going in, I would say this is the same amount of pelvis tilt. It almost looks like I'm sticking my butt out a little bit more on the right side, but if you look at the line of the underwear, it's actually pretty similar. Like if my underwear was like this over here, I would say that there was a big difference, but here you can see they're both curvature up. So the first thing I'm going to look at here is core. And this is the biggest difference in my opinion. So if you literally just scan your eyes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, go ahead and do that right now. What do you notice? Well, the things that you're going to notice is that my stomach was more up and down here. And now over here, it's starting to come in, losing fat there. Same thing with my low back. Here it was somewhat sloped, but pretty straight. And back here, it's very much sloped in. We're losing fat in my core. I can see that. Now, the next thing I'll look at is kind of this glute hamstring area, especially paying attention to this little spot right here, which is a spot that I hold fat in. If we come over here, look at that. Scan your eyes back and forth, back and forth. Glutes are appearing more lifted here because we're getting rid of this little area of fat down here. I was just finishing editing this video and I realized I didn't really say goodbye. So goodbye. No, I'm just kidding. I did want to mention one thing is that this is 5 weeks into a diet here and there's not like a ton of changes in this comparison, but it's kind of like a roll of paper towels where if you take off that first couple sheets of paper towels, it doesn't make a huge difference to the overall look of the roll, right? But then once you start getting down to the bottom of the roll, even just taking off one sheet makes a huge difference. So even though these changes, hopefully, you know, me pointing them out kind of like opened your eyes to what we're looking for as coaches and what you can look for in your own photos. But also the further I get into this cut, the more that those changes are going to be undeniable. And that anyone will be able to look at them and see like, whoa, she changed a lot. So even if you're looking at your photos and they don't look super different, just keep going, just keep pushing. And as long as you're being adherent and working with a coach who knows what they're doing and has a plan for you, then you're gonna get where you wanna go. I hope this was helpful and let me know if you guys have any questions.